to the program The Big Agenda. I am Messi, Emelite. Uncertainty hangs over reconciliation joint committee set up by the presidential candidate of the People Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and Yusuf Wike, the governor of Rivers State, over disagreements emanating from the People's Presidential Primary, and is yet to conclude its assignment. And in today's segment, I will be having with me Ambassador Moses Kolawole Obisesan, a political analyst. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
Oh, please, for the sake of our viewers, kindly introduce yourself and tell us about you.
Okay. I'm Moses Kolawole Obisesan, political analyst. Yeah.
Okay, now, sir, there is a lot of crisis rocking the People Democratic Party, the PDP. How can you, or from your own view, how do you see the rift between Wike and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar?
Okay, thank you very much, Mercy. Sincerely, I hope that history will not repeat itself as far as PDP is concerned. If you remember vividly, something like this happened just 2014, just shortly before the presidential election in 2015, when a few people felt aggrieved, in PDP, and they called themselves the new PDP, and they made certain demands, of the party, and those demands were not yielded to. And so they felt uncomfortable with what was happening. And so they started moving around like a, snowball. They started very small, few of them. As at that time you have the likes of His Excellency, former governor, of Kwara State, and the former Senate President, and a number of others that really came together then. And they said they were not comfortable with a few things in the party. And you know what? They left the party and joined with the CPC and with the ACN and with a few other, I think, APGA, that formed the current APC. So, if you come to what we're having right now, Wike is aggrieved. He felt shortchanged. He felt that he's giving so much to PDP, and really, truth must be told, Wike is one of the very few top leaders that are in PDP that have not jump shifted any time before. He's remained in PDP all through his political life. From being the chairman of a local government, one of the most troubled local governments, and becoming minister, he rose through the ranks, and he has remained in PDP. It's no longer, it's a public news that at the most troubled time of PDP, about 8 years of PDP's out of being at the central power, Wike and his group have together funded and kept PDP alive. So he felt like, that he should be given certain privileges. Especially, knowing that there was a gentleman agreement, not even beyond gentleman agreement, there is an arrangement in PDP currently that says that 8 years of power in the north, then there will be 8 years of power back to the south. And so, if such a thing had been agreed, and Wike, I would say that supported Tambuwal as at that time when Tambuwal was going for presidency, and that's also the other time he supported Atiku. What am I trying to bring out is there has been, this person has played his role, very loyal party member and also a major stakeholder in PDP. So he thought that he was going to be able to clinch the presidential ticket of PDP. Now, for whatever reason, he didn't clinch it. That's fine. Now, he now thought that looking at his pedigree, looking at all that he has, and looking at all that he has done, his sacrifice, and all of his roles and all of the supporters that he had. Remember, if Tambuwal never pulled all of his forces behind Atiku, Wike would have taken that ticket. So, naturally, we should know that Wike represents a very strong force, you know, and so he didn't pick the presidential ticket. We thought, a lot of people thought, automatically he would have actually been the running mate of Atiku. I also know that it's choosing a running mate. There are so many things that are involved. We know that. But so by and large, he was not picked. If Atiku, if His Excellency Atiku realized that he wasn't going to use the committee that said help select someone, I think if I remember, 14 people voted that Wike should be the running mate. Why 3? Voted otherwise. So Wike was too sure that it was going to be the running mate. But hey, it was not given. So he lost being the presidential candidate. He lost being the running mate, and then that very situation was not properly handled. Sincerely, was not properly handled because the party hierarchy, you know, top persons in the party should have jumped in there and said, you know what, pacify this man who has given so much, who has actually sacrificed so much, who have, you know, sustained the party, you know, when the party needed it most. And so, for me, I know that currently now, having done all of that, Wike now said, okay, you know what, I lost the presidential ticket, I lost the running mate ticket. Now there are a few promises that were on ground. One of which, for instance, it was very clearly said that once the PDP, after emergence of a northern candidate, during that primaries, that the chairman, who is also from the north, that Senator Ayu, Senator Ayu said he was going to resign if somebody comes from, but he did not. And so many other, you know, things that have actually played out. And Wike is just feeling like, look, you cannot have the presidential candidates from the north. You have the chairman of the party from the north. You have the BOT chairman from the north. You have all of these key persons, even the 2 spokespersons for the party, for the presidential campaign. You have Dino Melaye from the north. You have the other persons. I've forgotten his name. Boala from the north. So he looks at it and says, no, you can't put all of these people, because politics is a game of spread. It's a game of number. He said, look, how am I going to tell the people from the south to keep behind PDP when there's really nothing they can look forward to? Because if you don't spread these offices, then it's not going to work. So for me, you saw what happened is like the entourage of people went to there's been a lot of effort now, you know, to be able to assuage all that happened. But if you trace it sincerely, I believe that much should have been done, you know, to assuage the pains of Wike. Let me tell you something that we need to know very well. When you have a Wike who is saying no, he has a lot of followers. The Benue State governor doesn't hide it. The Otom, you know, clearly say, look, wherever he goes, I will go. Several other persons who are behind Wike. So I'm saying that the PDP should please not, for the interest of the PDP, don't make the mistake of just thinking it's just Wike. Like somebody was speaking, I had one of the top party men. You know, I was talking one time and he said, Wike should not see himself as if he's the emperor or is the mayor or whatever. No, he has a lot of weight. Don't wish it away. And so, I would rather say that maybe the board of trustees of PDP and then the top hierarchy of PDP should wade into this. If not, there have been 2 major issues like this that have rocked PDP and that has actually led to the downfall. Why PDP lost the power at the center. You know, so for me, I would just pray that PDP don't play to gallery, because let me tell you, the APC and the rest of the political party, they love what's happening. Because the more your enemies, the more your opposition is distracted, the better for their own party. And so that's really what it is. I think it's a situation of mismanaged aftermath of the candidacy of the presidential candidacy and the running mate. It was not properly managed, and then you have the issues on our hands. And so for me, I'm trying to see how all kinds of negotiation, they've actually placed some of their demands very open to say, okay, this really needs to be this, that needs to be that, and all of that. So they are looking at it. And of course, the two parties also have chosen some of their negotiators now. PDP, what's it called? You have Alhaji Atiku Abubakar choosing Fintiri to represent him. That's the governor of Adamawa State. While Yusuf Wike actually had Professor Jerry Ghana, on his own side. So I think all of this, and these are two very serious personalities that are able to galvanize the thoughts of the people they represent to be able to come to a logical conclusion. Yeah.
Okay, according to reports so far, it's stated that the national chairman of the People Democratic Party, in his statement, said that he isn't ever ready to be a sacrificial lamb. So, what do you think if he doesn't step down from the office? What do you think is the fate of the People Democratic Party?
Well, I really don't. I don't know. I don't think the national chairman should use the word being sacrificial lamb. I think he should be more of a gentleman who keeps to his words. He said it on the national platform. You understand what I'm saying? To say that if a northern candidate emerges from the primaries, he will be willing to step down. I think that's a gentleman thing. They shouldn't even be dragging it. I think I love what the BOT chair said. Look, if they said he should go right now, he's willing to go. Yeah, he has few months left. That's the BOT chair. So I don't think the national chairman should use the word being the sacrificial lamb. It is the right thing to do. And you see, when people are also saying that after the election he will do, no. The strength of that office is during election. It is now that we still have about 5-6 months to election. This is when the vibrancy and the need for that office is there. And people and Wike's team are saying, leave now. Because if you don't leave now, after the election, when you have done whether the damages or whatever, when you've done what you want to do, then that's when you now want to step out. No, they want to really feel. Because let me tell you, maybe we need to know that, you see, in the wisdom of the founding father, they realized that 6 offices are very key and it must be spread around the 6 geopolitical zone. The president, the vice president, the senate president, the speaker, the chairman of the the party chair, and there's the last office. 6 major offices are supposed to be. I think that's what's it called now? The president of the court of the Supreme Court. So now they feel that, look, all of these offices are supposed to be spread in all of the 6 geopolitical zones. So if you are now having lopsidedness, and then you are saying you're not going to be a sacrificial lamb, I don't think that's the right thing. I think it's more of respecting gentleman agreement and being able to do the right thing when the ovation is loudest. Yes.
Okay, now looking at this whole crisis, if he end up not resigning from the office or stepping down from the office, don't you think it's a big threat to the Democratic Party come 2023 general election?
That's it. You got it. You see, because again, what people say is, when you want me to go to my zone to go and canvass for votes, what am I bringing on the table? Look, if Alhaji Atiku Abubakar will not wade into this, because politics is about trade-offs. That's what it is. What are you going to give? Is give and take. You cannot hold on. You can't come to a negotiation table and say you will not move an inch. It's not going to happen. The other side too is not going to also, is also negotiating. Those days when you just say, okay, I'll stick my gun, then people, no, there's a lot of options, available. So for me, in my spell doom, it would be the best, it would be in the interest of PDP to say that they are not going to move an inch for all of the all of the key items on the negotiation table. I think there's wisdom in being able to trade off a few things, and then if already you already have presidential ticket, you already have the vice presidency, and then you also have the BOT. I think a whole lot of things can actually be traded off. Yeah. So that you can assuage the mind of the other party, of the other side. If not, you will be shocked. Just a little. What people don't get is that if you're supposed to win by 60-40, and just 15 is leaving you to here, if 15 leaves that 60, it brings it to 45. 15% that joins this 40 brings it to 55 automatically. What am I trying to say is that what it takes to win is just a very thin line. That's the point I'm trying to say. In politics, it's not rocket science. So if a few persons that you are thinking really doesn't matter, we can manage and all of that, when they leave, that was what cost PDP, the presidential election in 2015. And so I think I hope that it will repeat itself right now.
Okay, let's drive a bit into the All Progressive Congress, the PDP. What do you think or feel about the Muslim-Muslim ticket of the All Progressive Congress?
Well, it's a very interesting side, because again, if you look at, I'm sure that there's a pros and cons to the two. If Mashiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, if he had picked a Christian from the north as his running mate, he would have actually had some backlash, a lot of backlashes here and there. And so, whether picking a Christian ticket, he will lose a lot of votes in the north, while he will gain the votes of a lot of Christians. People say we should move away from politics of religion. We are not there yet. We are not there. Let's tell ourselves the truth. We will get there when you do politics of competence. Because when you say you're doing democracy is not meritocracy. You see, when you are doing meritocracy, it means that the best people are coming on board. But when you're doing democracy, you're saying the people with the largest number. So what it means is that if you have professors that are 10, and then you have the talakawas that are 12, they will win the professors. So we must understand that we are not talking about the best thing. We are talking about what will the larger number of persons gravitate towards. So that brings me to the fact that they chose Muslim-Muslim ticket. I think they are actually testing the troubled water. It was done about 30 years back during Abiola, Kingibe, and they won. They tried it and they won. But during the current Buhari he couldn't try. Initially, it was supposed to be Buhari and Tinubu, but no, they said no. There was a jitter that look, if they go the Muslim will it won't fly. So they had to actually go for a Muslim Christian, and that was when they brought Oshibade. Now, I don't know the guts that, because actually a lot of guts for you to have actually done what all the Christians in this country, whether you like it or not, Christian and Muslim are almost 50-50 in Nigeria currently. And so for someone to have, been able to stand up and say, you know what, I would rather dare all the Christians not voting for me for Muslim to vote, because that's really what it amounts to in the minds of many Christians. And so for me, I think it's a daring move, very, very daring, very bold move. Now, it's not, they're not going to find it very easy, because quite a number of the other people are saying, no, we really not going to allow this to fly. You know why? Not necessarily because, you see, people quite a number of persons, they've seen what Bola Tinubu did in Lagos, and how actually he's also grown, he's been able to grow a lot of leaders, raise a lot of leaders politically, and so people are very, very comfortable with what he has done personally and in the political scene, all of his contribution to Nigerian politics. Also, the person that he has chosen, Shettima, also did, I mean, he has done pretty well in Maiduguri, I mean, what's it called now? Borno State. And so, the two party, they've got antecedent. There are a lot of things that people can draw, but the Muslim-Muslim ticket, if you ask me, I'm not sure whether Nigerians are ready for it right